Welcome to Ethics. Before we start, please do not forget to subscribe, like, share. Our video discussion for today is about moral dilemma. Introduction. Have you ever encountered a situation that you did everything but still you made a mistake? This lesson will discuss the concept of ethical or moral dilemma, wherein two situations obliging an individual to take actions but he or she can do only one task. Hence, to understand more deeply and familiarize moral dilemma, levels of moral dilemmas will also be tackled. Learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students would be able to understand the meaning of moral dilemma, discuss the levels or types of moral dilemma, and analyze the situation that is being required in making the decision. The concept of moral dilemma. Ethical or moral dilemma is a two or more situations wherein the agent must consider particular moral values in which he or she can do only one duty but obliging him or her to do both. The agent will fall into the actual choice between what is right and wrong, as if he or she is in the manner of choosing what is the best thing to do. In two situations, an agent cannot formally respond at the same time. In fact, only one can be honored and the other will violate, for at least taking the risk of what is needed to be done. According to the Corporate Finance Institute or CFI, ethical dilemma is a problem in the decision-making process between two possible but unacceptable options from an ethical perspective. Thus, due to the process of choosing between what is right or wrong, one might say that morality is a paradox, because neither of the possible options in a certain situation are absolute and acceptable from an ethical perspective. So, the question now, which is which? According to Brunifler, et al., the term dilemma comes from the two Greek word dis, meaning twice, and lemma, meaning assumptions or premise. The logical perspective of dilemma is composed of a conjunct proposition of if, then hypothetical statements as a major premise. For example, if A, then B. But B, therefore, A. To elaborate further, if I study well, then I will pass. But since I passed, therefore, I studied well. Types or levels of moral dilemma. Epistemic and ontological moral dilemmas. Self-imposed moral dilemma. Obligation and prohibition moral dilemmas. Single agent or multi-persons moral dilemmas. Epistemic moral dilemma. An epistemic moral dilemma refers to the involvement of two or more situations that require the agent to decide, or choose, but not knowing which is right or wrong. In other words, there is a moral requirement conflict between the two situations. For example, I promise to finish the task at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but my office mate is asking me for help. Am I going to help or not? If yes, then I will not be able to finish the task on time. If not, surely, I can. Ontological moral dilemma. On the other hand, the ontological moral dilemma refers to the involvement of two or more situations that the moral conflicts have same requirement. In other words, neither of the moral requirement is greater than the other. For example, two individuals need AB plus blood type, but there is only one bag of blood left in the blood bank. To whom it will be given? Self-imposed moral dilemma. A self-imposed moral dilemma is caused by a moral agent wrongdoings. For example, if Jose promises to eradicate poverty in his society, then he will eradicate also graft and corruptions. But he needs funds for his program, but then, he asks donations from the corrupt people. Thus, Jose created a situation that his obligation to both parties isn't possible for him to discharge. Obligation and Prohibition Moral Dilemmas. According to philnotes.com, obligation dilemma is a situation in which more than one feasible action is obligatory, while prohibition dilemma involves cases in which all feasible actions are forbidden. In other words, obligation dilemma is a moral requirement to act in a certain way, while prohibition dilemma means no course of moral agent action is allowed. An example of obligation dilemma is based on a song Mahal Ko o Mahal Ako. On the other hand, a concrete example of prohibition dilemma is when G manipulates C to do D. If C does, then G will not disturb C anymore. But if not, then G will not only disturb C but will destroy maybe more than that. Single agent and multi-person moral dilemmas. According to McConnell, a single agent has both conflicting obligations, while multi-agent, the actions are still incompatible, but the obligations concern different people. For example, Jose and Juan are competing in class to be on top, but only one could be possibly claim the honor. On the other hand, they both aiming it for their families. References. Subscribe. Like. Share.